Kitco Mining special coverage of BMO's 33rd Global Metals, Mining and Critical Minerals Conference is brought to you by First Majestic Silver.
Silver is a precious metal, but it could also be one of the most important critical minerals. So how do you tell both stories? I'm with Keith Neumeyer. He is the CEO of First Majestic Silver. Keith, welcome to Kitco.
Oh, good seeing you again. Thanks.
I want to start with First Majestic first. You announced a mineral resource and reserve update. What are some of the aims?
Well, the mineral reserve and resource update is coming in March. We did come out with our Q4 financial statements and our year-end financial statements. We ended the year off on a very positive note. Our costs dropped quite substantially quarter over quarter. The cost-cutting efforts that have been underway for most of 2023 started to impact us in Q4. We expect that to continue to 2024.
Mm-hmm. You did announce that the suspension at Jerritt Canyon. What are the plans for that operation going forward?
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons why we were slightly challenged in early 2023, and it had a big contribution on why we ended 2023 on such a positive note. Mm-hmm. Shutting that mine down was the right decision, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. In hindsight, we probably should have shut it down earlier and redeveloped it, because it does need investment in the mill. The mine also needs further investment, but in 2024, we're going to be spending $10 million on exploration at Jerritt Canyon. It's the largest exploration program that we're aware of that's happened at least for the last 15 years. Our geologists have some very interesting views on the geology at Jerritt Canyon, and we're hoping that they will be proven right in 2024.
Beyond Jerritt Canyon, you have quite a large exploration program that's planned for the year too.
$35 million for the entire year. 10 of that, as I just said, is going into Jerritt, and the other 25 thereabouts is being split evenly between San Dimas and Santa Elena.
One of the other highlights is that you're running a mint. Can you tell us how that's going?
It's pretty exciting. We ran against a bit of a wall back in 2022 and 2023, where the mints just couldn't supply us with the material that we were wanting to sell. We have a lot of demand for our product, and we decided, in early 2023 just to open our own mint. So we started doing that. It's taken some time, start, from scratch, buying all the equipment and getting a building, putting all the manpower together. It has taken some time, but on a positive note, we poured our first bar last week, and it's being shipped through the PDAC as we speak. So we'll have it on display next week at the PDAC, and happy to talk further about it.
Terrific. A question about doing deals, M&A, especially in this environment. Now, you've been asked in the past by Kitco around possible acquisitions. You've said that discussions are ongoing. You have NDAs that are signed. How does the market look right now for doing a deal, though? I mean, silver's been under pressure. Miners have been under pressure. Really, there's been a theme through Q4s when you're looking at other miners, and it's like kind of conserve cash, pulling your horns right now. Is that kind of way in terms of actually making a decision?
Well, look, it is relative.
Yeah.
Our share price has gone down quite a lot over the last couple of years. And it's been obviously disappointing the way silver's been reacting as well over that same period of time. But the other miners are equally as affected. So, we don't stop our M&A activity. We're always looking around for opportunities. And, even at this conference, we've had several meetings. So, who knows? It takes always two to tango. But we have to be careful. I want to see a really beautiful, nice cornerstone silver asset come into our portfolio sometime in the next couple of years. And that's really what we're focused on.
You were talking to the Canadian government, talking more about silver now, and you're talking to the Canadian government about designating silver as a critical mineral. Any updates?
Right. Well, we saw the United States put out their critical minerals list last summer of 2023, top 50 minerals, and silver was not on that list, to our surprise. Because I look at silver as a critical mineral. I created the phrase strategic metal years ago. And I believe that because everything we do, even this interview and getting here at the conference, everything we do as the human race requires silver. And yet the politicians look at silver as a poor man's gold, which I think is completely incorrect way of looking at this very critical metal. So when we saw that show up in the U.S. government, we approached them right away and said, hey, look, you missed silver. And now they're looking at silver. So the United States will hopefully include silver on the critical minerals list in 2025. In Canada, they went through the same process. We lobbied early. We had 20 mining executives, including ourselves, sign a letter to the Canadian government requesting that they look at silver as a critical mineral. They're not telling us what their decision obviously is, but we're expecting they're going to publish their list in May of 2024, and we're hoping silver will be on that list. It was really nice to see. I should make a call out to all the executives that signed that letter. It was really nice to see, a lot of very senior silver executives within the Canadian mining sector, sign that letter in support of this effort.
Silver could be the most important critical mineral if you get that designation, just because the economics of solar just continue to surprise. And you hear some analysts say that it doesn't look that any other types of energy sources would be able to compete with, because solar just continues to get so cheap.
Well, and electric cars, we have a slide in our presentation that shows electric car consumption. And we even, one of the institutions we met yesterday was quite surprised at how much silver is actually going into the automotive electric vehicle sector. We have two industries now, the solar panel industry and the electric car industry, that's now consuming 30% of all silver mined worldwide. And those industries didn't exist 10 years ago.
Now, silver is also a precious metals, I don't need to tell you. And how would you say, I could probably say that the audience that is interested in precious metals can be a little contrary to the renewable energy crowd as well. Is there any difficulty in terms of being able to tell stories to both, or are both, is the investors just happy to see that there is a source of demand?
I don't think there's really a difference. People that believe silver is a precious metal or gold is a precious metal, has really zero impact. Gold's used in some electronics as well, to a smaller degree, of course, than silver. But they're both very important metals to everything we do in the human race. So I'll call silver a critical or a critical metal or mineral, and I'll continue to do that because I firmly believe it is. And we're here today proving that fact.
Bitcoin has been on a tear this year. Is there any concern again that Bitcoin's rise can come at the expense of precious metals?
There's always been that story, going back 10 years, that maybe some of the investors pulled money out of the gold sector and then put it into the Bitcoin sector, and quite the younger crowd mostly. But interestingly, I went through Europe on a conference in November, and I was quite surprised at how many young people were coming into the conference looking at the miners. Because normally, you don't see the young people there. And I was quite shocked with that and quite intrigued. And I think it says a lot about what the younger generation's looking at. They're looking for real value. And I think they're starting to look at the miners. At least that's why I recognized at that conference.
That follows on to my next question that just regards the marketing effort for precious metals and your assessment of it. So the World Gold Council had its Idris Elba feature, and we've seen that Idris Elba touring the various precious metals operations. Are we doing a good enough job in terms of actually being able to tell the precious metal story?
Well, in the silver space, I would say no. The Gold Council, I think, does a pretty good job. You do see their commercials and some of their advertisements and some of their PR, on a fairly regular basis. But silver, for whatever reason, it's a very small industry. I guess that's probably why, because it's only a $20 billion industry. So there's only so much money available to do proper marketing campaigns to talk about the uses of the critical necessities of silver. And it's I had meetings just this last week, and I continually had meetings with people that are involved in the Silver Institute to try to get them out there more aggressively. It is happening, but of course I'd like to see it more. I feel sometimes I'm the lone wolf in the market talking about silver. We just broke through 20 years. Last September of 2023 was First Majestic's 20th year anniversary. So it's pretty, I feel, I have been, as you probably know, educating the investors in the world about the importance of silver for that length of time.
the markets have been tough right now. They've been tough. But what's your sense of optimism? How's this going to turn around?
Well, I'm not very bullish on the market. I think the market is going through a topping pattern right now. You wouldn't know with NVIDIA, going through $2 trillion, but
More generally talking about the S&P and all of that.
Yeah. And well, I think that's where all the money is.
Yeah.
And I've said before, and I'll say it again. This to me is 2000 and 2001 all over again. When the Nasdaq hit 5,000 in March of 2000, and over the 3-year period after that, it dropped 80%. And then gold lit up, the miners lit up, and we went into a 10-year bull market for the miners, which ended in 2011, 2012. I think exactly the same thing's going to happen all over again. You never know exactly when the top is, and it'd be a fool to pick a date or a number. But it's classic topping patterns that I'm seeing. It may be negative for the miners as well. If the S&P does crack and drop 25% or whatever number may occur, it's not going to be easy for the entire market. But then after that, I believe that the metals will light up, silver will go to new highs, and gold as well, and that'll drive all the miners to record highs as well over the next 10 years.
What was the theme, or what do you think the stories are going to be coming out of that topping and the correction that would work for, what would be propelling precious metals and silver?
All it is money flows.
Yeah.
It's just headlines. Human beings are human beings, and they're always the same. They act the same, they invest the same. And when there's money to be made, investors will move to that sector where the money's being made. And over the last 10 years, the S&P, the Nasdaq have been the places to be. Bitcoin as well. And a lot of people have made a lot of money, but all of a sudden things change. One day, the institutions just say enough is enough, and they look at a sector like the mining sector, and they say, hey, there's real value in that sector. And we've ignored this sector for 10 years. Maybe we should stop buying the tech stocks. Maybe we should start buying the miners, because that's where the real value is. And also with the lack of investment that's gone into the mining sector, for the last 20 years, we're seeing real supply constraints in metals. So I think it's going to be a combination of a number of drivers that are going to propel the mining sector to new highs over the next decade.
Lastly, Keith, the next 12 months at First Majestic.
We're very much focused on exploration in 2024. We've got a big budget, $35 million, as I said earlier. We're trying to do more than just replace ounces. We're very optimistic at Jerritt Canyon, of course, but Santa Elena is looking extremely good as well. Santa Elena just had a record Q4, produced 3 million ounces of silver equivalent, which is a record for that mine. We're hoping to see similar types of numbers throughout 2024, but in exploration itself, there's all kinds of geological outcrops and areas that we wanted to drill for the last number of years, but just haven't got around to it. So 2024 is a big focus for drilling.
Keith, thanks for speaking with Kitco.
Great. Good seeing you again.
My name is Michael McCrae here at the BMO conference for Kitco Mining.
Kitco Mining special coverage of BMO's 33rd Global Metals, Mining and Critical Minerals Conference is brought to you by First Majestic Silver.